Let's start with the application, and I have to admit that I've used the smallest amount of concealer underneath my eyes and around my eyes because I have some health issues now, and it shows in my very dark under eyes, and I'm a little bit shy about those. I hope you don't mind, but you can see that I don't have any concealer anywhere else on my face. Okay, now let's start with application. I'm going to use Beauty Blender on my right side of my face and then a brush on my left side. So this is the same shade as the first one, and I can immediately see that the consistency, okay, now I've used it all up, but the consistency, it's more liquidy. You can see that. Okay, the shade, it's right on point again. It's, of course, it's different because it's more liquidy, even with the application. Ooh, but it's really nice. Can you see that dewiness? I hope you cannot hear my neighbors. Again, it was quiet until I started recording this video. You can see now the difference. This is medium coverage, I would say. It's not that high coverage as the one for oily skin. It feels really hydrating on the skin as well, which is pretty nice. It gives you that whole healthy looking dewiness, and it looks really natural on the skin. Now I'm using my Rare Beauty foundation brush for my left side, and I would say that I'm quite impressed with these formulas for oily and dry skin. I would totally use this in my makeup kit. With that one for oily skin, combination oily skin, I preferred Beauty Blender. With this one, I prefer brush because it eats less of my product, and I just think that it gives me much more natural result. But I would actually use both, so then you can just go on top with your Beauty Blender just to push in the product, to remove maybe the excess, and to really blend it in. I wouldn't go further than this. For me, this is a really good coverage. This is more medium type of coverage, but I absolutely love it. And I think that if I go with another layer, it's going to be too much, as with that one for dry skin, as oily skin as well. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to try it because, you know, I'm curious how much I can build it up. And I'm just using now my brush because I know my preferable application method, and yeah, I can build it up. That's nice. I was a little bit worried with this formula because with that one for oily skin, it makes more sense, the formula to be high coverage, buildable and stuff like that. But with this more dewy type of formulas, sometimes you don't get that. I think that now that I build up this shade, the color, it's a little bit off, but if I'm being really picky about it, and also I've been on the sun just before recording this, so I have some redness on my neck as well. But yeah, you can totally build it up, and that's really nice because it means that the foundation is really versatile. So you can use a very small amount, and it's for daily use, or you can even mix it in with your moisturizer and you get like a BB cream or something like that. You have to be careful with mixing two different formulas, but you can play, or you can get a full coverage for an evening look. That's really nice. I really like how my foundation is looking, of course, because I've used a lot. I've used at least maybe 3 pumps, something like that, or 2 pumps, and a half. It is a lot, so it's going to move around. It's going to look a little bit more heavy, but that's just for the purpose of this video, to really truly test it out. But of course, for my everyday use, I'm never gonna use this much. Even for evening look, I don't need that much. Now I can use a little bit more of concealer. Before I didn't want to apply too much because I would defeat the purpose of this video. But yeah, I mean, you can totally see the difference between this one and the other one. So now I'm just going to set my face a little bit more. So the setting powder went on nicely. I've used it just like in my T-zone here. Now I really want to see how cream blush is going to perform on top of this foundation, and also a powder formula. So for today I'm using this Chic Flirt Face Stick blush from Catrice. It's actually a really easy, very blendable formula. I don't have any problems with blending this one on top of foundation, but that's to be expected because the foundation is really dewy, easy to work with, blendable. Like, my lights are just weird today. This is much better. Okay, and then I'm gonna use my Divine bronzer from Pat McGrath because it's a really nice formula to work with, and with this one I can truly test the foundation. If I'm not powdering foundation before using a powder bronzer, how it's going to react, because you know you can have problems with especially more dewy type of foundations. So you can see no problem whatsoever, it blended out beautifully. But I mean, now with foundations it's very hard to have problem like this, but it happens, especially with really wet type of foundations. So that's that. Now I'm going to do the rest of my makeup and see you in a bit. Okay, so this is foundation under natural light, and it's about 2 hours later, and it is looking a little bit heavy, but that's just because I've used so much product. Otherwise it still looks really blendable and beautiful, and it's not going into my fine lines, which is really good so far. Now it's 8 hours later. This is the result. I think that it's quite impressive. It feels a little bit heavy, but I mean, I've used almost three pumps. That's quite a lot. I would never use that much. I was in the sun, I was out and about walking, I was on an evening walk, but it was really hot. It looks beautiful. I've just lost foundation around my nose, but that's to be expected, and also just a little bit here because I had my sunnies on, but almost none. My skin feels nice, it's not dry at all. It still looks really radiant and plump, which I like. Overall, I'm very impressed with these Revlon Colorstay longwear foundations, both of these. I really like that they released the same foundation for dry and for oily skin. If you're somewhere in the middle, you can choose what kind of finish would you like, and I absolutely love that it's full coverage. You can use smaller amount and it's more appropriate for everyday. Yeah, and it is sweat proof, if you ask me. It's not, I've actually, oh, I totally forgot that I slept for 1 hour, like after lunch. Like, foundation didn't disappear on my left or right side of the face. I'm highly recommending these two, but if you don't like full coverage or medium coverage, if you want something really light, then these foundations are not for you. But if you like variety, so then you can use smaller amount for everyday, but you can totally build it up to full coverage for an evening look or for photo shooting or something like that. And if you're maybe worried that this one, because it's for normal to dry skin, that it's going to be too dewy, too greasy, this one not at all, because it's more like satin finish, more radiant than like really hydrating looking, if you know what I mean. It's the difference between this one and Hydromaniac from Urban Decay or Beautiful Skin from Charlotte Tilbury. Those can be sometimes too dewy on some people. I think that this one is going to work for actually everybody except of oily skin. So that's that. Those are my final thoughts, and if you liked it, then please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and see you in my next one. Have a lovely day. Bye.